We're recording. Meeting, please come to order. Susie, please call the roll.
Commissioners Levine, McLean Hill, and Reyes present.
This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I really have no opening remarks other than once again to apologize for the late start. We have 4 public comments, 2 from Bishop. We'll call for those first.
Philip Anaya, followed by Jorah Fogg.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Commission, thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to address you. My name is Philip Anaya, and I'm here in Bishop, California, and in Northridge, California, where I'm a DWP customer. At a recent Commission meeting, I had the privilege to address you regarding the now withdrawn Premium Energy Holdings LLC Owens Storage Project. Today, I am here to inquire and comment on the Haywee Storage Project, another Premium Energy Holdings LLC proposal. The project description is available at the FERC website. The docket number is P-14991. While there are undesirable environmental impacts, there are also technical difficulties with the proposal, beginning with the project overlaying the existing LA DWP infrastructure. Significant technical difficulties include the construction of a lower reservoir referred to as North Haywee 2 in the proposal that will require realignment of the existing LA aqueduct and will have a capacity of 38,000 plus acre feet of water. The project also requires an upper reservoir, and 3 alternatives have been offered, including a 6.7 mile long, 24 to 27 foot diameter pressure tunnel connecting an upper reservoir to the lower North Haywee 2 reservoir. Where the initial waters, 38,000 acre feet times 2, will come from, with all the demands in LA, in the Owens Valley, for Owens Lake dust mitigation, and the LA aqueduct being seen as a potential recharge resource for the critically endangered Indian Wells Basin, is a question that LA DWP should be aware of and have concerns. Additionally, with regards to the transmission alternates offered, number 1, the Inyo Rinaldi line, and number 2, the PDCI, the Pacific Intertie, there are questions regarding capacity, upgrading, priority queue positions that should concern DWP. As it is, neither transmission alternate has sufficient capacity for the 1,600 to 2,000 megawatts proposed generation capacity of the Haywee project, nor is either transmission line capable of being upgraded. The Inyo Rinaldi line was recently upgraded from Barron Ridge South to provide renewable energy to Los Angeles from multiple projects, including the Beacon Project, the 3 Springboks, and 1 other in the Barron Ridge vicinity, and then many other renewable energy projects that interconnect to the Inyo Rinaldi transmission line and provide energy to the existing Casteric Pyramid Energy Storage Project for peak and off-peak demands in Los Angeles. The Pacific Intertie has been once upgraded and maxed out to a capacity of 3,100 megawatts, while the converters are limited to 2,600 megawatts according to Bonneville Power. The PDCI runs at full capacity during the summer season, and the opinion of BP that the coordination of an energy storage regime would be difficult to manage. In addition, BP has told us that there would be a converter substation replacement needed at the lower end of the PDCI with a new converter substation at Haywee. The two would have to be connected with redundant communication and would be technically challenging and prohibitively expensive to the tune of $80 million, as BP has recently considered a similar upgrade project in Washington State. The WP OD Oasis priority queue list does not have a listing for either of these projects, and there are projects in the queue list that are ahead of the project proposal and also are limiting the Inyo Rinaldi line capacity. If my time is up, I have one more paragraph, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you. We request the knowledge of Premium Energy LLC Haywee project of being proposed as an LADWP project or of an LADWP is supporting the proposal. If not, it is requested that LADWP communicate to FERC that LADWP will not be a participant in the Haywee project, and further communicate with Premium Energy Holdings LLC that LADWP is not interested in this particular project overlaying and interfering with its infrastructure of the LA Aqueduct, nor its Inyo Rinaldi or Pacific Intertie transmission lines. There is a recognition of the vital need for renewable energy generation and energy storage, but the Haywee storage project is a bridge to nowhere, especially without viable transmission options. There is little support for the Haywee project in the Eastern Sierra, and we hope that DWP will reach the same conclusion that the project is not viable technically, environmentally, and as important, financially viable to its ratepayers. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Anaya.
Thank you.
Jorah Fogg.
Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I would like to build upon Philip's comments regarding the Haywee Pump Storage Project. On September 27th, 2019, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission issued a 60-day comment period for the Haywee Pump Storage Project. It may be prudent for DWP to review this application and consider submitting formal comments, becoming an intervening party, or establishing interested party status on this project. I'm happy to answer any questions related to this project, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ethan Senger, followed by Sylvia Ramirez.
Hello. Thank you for having me here, and I just want to thank the commissioners as well for their support last week with the 100% renewable energy study approving the extra money for outreach. I'm a member of the LADWP MOU Oversight Committee, so part of something that I really believe in is that we need to be having more outreach on this issue. I just wanted to bring up some concerns that I had about something else that was brought up last week regarding the addition of a new base case. I understand the importance of a base case and having something very clear that we're building off of. I do have some concerns about specifically the 2017 SLTRP and the idea that I heard it discussed that this is sort of that represents a do nothing scenario. And I just think that we really need to be clear that the 27 SLTRP is not a do nothing scenario, that it's looking backwards. And something that even Mr. Pickle said last week at the hearing, that it's a, possibly that it's a non-compliant under current law. So I understand the reasoning of using the 2017 SLTRP as a base case. I understand the importance of a base case, but I do think we need to be very clear about where we are and where things have been, and understand that that's going back as opposed to the status quo, which is SB 100. So that's one. Also, just in general about communication and neighborhood council representation. Like I said, I'm a member of the MOU Oversight Committee, and just hoping that we can help bring neighborhood councils into this process more. The LAGWP and NREL came to present the MOU Oversight Committee this past weekend, but the agenda wasn't posted. It was posted on a private Facebook group that even me, as someone on the MOU Oversight Committee, had trouble finding. So just finding ways that we can help bring in other more diverse voices from neighborhood councils who might not be able to attend the MOU Oversight Committee or might not have heard about it. But we want to be able to work and have a voice in this process as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for your time. I'm here because I want to, I have a concern about a building. I just got a divorce. I got my property back, but I can't move in because there's a bill that my ex-husband never paid. I never had opened an account with Water and Power. I don't have an account. But since he was my husband, I tried to call, and they told me because I own the property that I'm responsible for the whole bill. And also has a rental unit that I cannot use either because whoever was living in the property, they also opened an account and they never pay it. I left the house in 2007. I just barely got my house in this year in June, but I can't do anything because there's no services. And they kept telling me that they cannot help me because I own the property and I had to pay everything. So I need help. I'm paying a room, I'm renting a room. I'm still paying for the mortgage and I can't do nothing about it. I can't even move in.
Marty, is there somebody that can assist
Yeah,
us?
Sharon Grove's right here. She'll be glad to talk to you. So,
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
This closes public comment.
Okay, General Manager.
thank you. I have a few brief comments. First of all, actually, my comments are very brief. I'm going to turn them over to everybody else. I'd like to ask Andy, in regards to the comment we had about the renewable energy study, the 100% study. Andy had just a note to make the board aware about that study and the base case. And then also, Andy, you want to talk just a second about the winds coming up and any preparations we're doing? There's been a lot in the news about people being proactively shut off of power due to the high winds. Locally, it's in the Edison territories. They had an announcement last night, both LA and Ventura counties. We don't do those shut-offs in the city of Los Angeles, but maybe Andy can describe what we are doing.
So just at the last meeting, the board asked that we come back with an update on the LA 100 advisory group and the, again, the just reference case. So the AG group met, and so the recommendation is to reinstate the reference case, but it will be modified based on comments, and they're working through those changes now, but we will be reinstating a reference case. As far as the winds, the storms, so we do have Santa Ana winds coming in. Much of, we've seen on the news how the, Pacific Gas and Electric and, Southern California Edison is doing the power shutdowns. It's something important to note that our systems are completely different, right? We have a 465 square mile service territory. PG&E's is 70,000 square miles. Edison is 50,000 square miles. So much of their distribution systems, and for the most part, that's what they're shutting down, their distribution systems, not their transmission systems. So most of ours, if not the majority of ours, are in an area where we're no more than a 5 to 7 minute LAFD response. So right now, at this time, and based on previous history, we don't feel we're at a point where it's prudent to do a shutdown. We are looking at, in the future, whether it makes sense to do where we would block relays. So if a circuit had an issue, it would shut off and not come back. Typically, our system will come back 3 times once it relays. So that's something we're looking into. But as far as this windstorm coming up, we're preparing for crews, whenever we get close to weekends and stuff. So we're looking, and with a holiday, typically, it just seems the way things working. Every one of these kind of windstorms, heat storms tends to come up around a holiday weekend, and so we have a holiday weekend coming up here. So right now we're proactively addressing, finding out who's available to be called out, and coming up with crew lists. We'll be staffing appropriately as the winds start to pick up, and making sure that we have resources on hand and available to respond to anything. And if any trouble starts to arise, then we will staff appropriately and make sure we stay ahead of it. So,
Sounds very well planned. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Last board meeting, Nancy talked about this building receiving some LEED awards. We recently, last week, got another award at the La Cretz campus. And Nancy, would you like to describe that, please?
Thank you. So last Friday afternoon, we had a little celebration at the La Cretz Innovation Campus to unveil 2 designation plaques. Commissioner McLean-Hill joined us for that. First was LEED Platinum for new construction. So that's the first DWP building to receive LEED Platinum status. And then second, one called WELL Gold Core and Shell. WELL certification has to do with sort of healthy buildings. And so those 2 together make the La Cretz Innovation Campus the first building in the U.S. to achieve both of those together. So we were excited about that, and we had a nice celebration at the campus. We were able to thank a lot of the folks who worked on it throughout the city, both here at DWP, Mayor's Office, Board of Public Works, and Bureau of Engineering, and others. And this celebration was held in conjunction with a net zero building conference that was here in LA, well attended, about 1,200 people. We were able to give them a tour of the La Cretz campus and have some folks on hand. So thanks to everybody who worked on this. It's a great achievement for LADWP and the City of Los Angeles. Thanks.
Nice.
Thanks,
Thank
Nancy.
you.
Last Friday up in Bishop, we participated in something called the South Main Street Beautification Project. And Selma Collins was there along with Clarence Martin and other staff. We have entered a partnership with the City of Bishop to help improve Main Street, which is Highway 395, to help make the area more appealing for commercial customers, business customers, visitors, and things like that. And so we did an initial donation to the City of Bishop, and they provide manpower and have started with tree planting and other improvements along Main Street. So last Friday was a very nice event up there to celebrate a tree planting there and continue that effort. Rich, do you want to add anything about that particularly?
No, that's good.
Okay, so anyway, so that's good news going on with our friends in the Owens Valley. And lastly, one of the reasons we have such a nice looking crowd here today is that I wanted to highlight our Customer Ambassador Awards. In 2018, as part of the strategic plan, we want to empower employees to demonstrate exceptional customer ambassadorship. And so we have folks from all over the department who have become part of the Customer Ambassador Spotlight group, and we're going to present some awards and recognize folks who have gone above and beyond the call of duty to really help our customers and make a difference in their lives beyond just their normal day-to-day work that they do at the department. I'd like to ask Sharon Grove to come up, and you're bringing Heidi and Jeff, Heidi Hiroka and Jeff Caribou, to recognize employees who are here today.
Good morning. I'm here with my fellow teammates Heidi and Jeff to talk about this CASA recognition program, Customer Ambassador Spotlight Award. The employees in the boardroom today are representatives of all of our 46 CASA award winners during the past 18 months. I think we got about 25 showing up today to be recognized. And I'd like to name them all, but before I do that, I want to talk about the committee. It was Jeff and Heidi, Estella, who went out to help the customer, Estella Tiemann, Michelle Figueroa, and Saida Beckham, who also went out to help the customer today. We have been working on a process because right now, before we started this strategic planning initiative, we had no formal way to recognize employees who did good and great things out there every single day in our communities. And so this was our opportunity to really formally start recognizing those employees. We wanted to make sure that the submissions were easy. We wanted to have a good process set up. We wanted to roll it out slowly to make sure that we did it appropriately. So we started in April of 2018. We started the pilot. In November of 2018, we added the power and the water systems to the process. And then in June of 2019, we had the full LADWP launch for people to be able to submit nominations for the CASA award. We use a standard form. We try not to invent anything new. It's standard form 79. It's just a company form for employee commendations. Anybody's eligible to be nominated, and the system heads or the respective division heads are the ones that submit the commendations to the committee. And these nominations, and so everybody in this room today, these employees have risen really above the standard. We give this award to employees that have done above and beyond. They really have a very, very solid reason to be given this award. They have done things, they have saved, honestly, some of these employees in this room today have saved customers' lives. So this is a very, very great opportunity for us to really honor those folks. So I want a couple examples. Everybody comes to these awards. Whatever job these employees have every day, our 10,000 plus employees at the department, they do whatever they do in their role to help customers. From the customer service division perspective, we had a couple of groups here in the room today. One group was in the call center, and a lot of those employees had there was Team 11, they're called, and they had this spectacular culture in this one team, and they drove so many positive customer comments because they were able to steer 10% of all the calls that came in the call center. This one team drove these customers to a service that we had to help them ease their move. So we awarded these to Team 11. And then the other recognition was to a group of Sustainability Award. They created a Sustainability Award to take large customers. The focus used to be on us giving out awards to customers. And now what's happening is the focus is on the customer and partnering with the customers. And so it completely shifted how we recognize and work with our large customers. And so those were two examples from customer service. I'm going to have Jeff and Heidi talk about it, and then we're going to literally introduce every single person here today that's received a CASA award. With that, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Thank you, Sharon. Good morning, Commissioners. Now, participating and being here to honor these CASA award members is very special for me as well, just being involved in the program. A lot of the things that we do from the power system, and from my point of view, these are folks that are out there working in the field. They're in the community, being part of the community, and they're reacting to things that they see in the community, and it's really special. Some of the things, and it may just be the young engineer that just started with it, but he's embraced each of his customers as his own, and everything that he touches is just it's so positive, and we get total excellent feedback from the customers that he's working with. And then we've got folks that are witnessing a purse snatching, and they're able to help an individual to her safety and actually subdue and hold the perpetrator, the person that stole the purse, at bay until police arrive. And things like that. We've got an individual that noticed an elderly lady getting off the freeway and had some car trouble, and she was very distraught and panicked, maybe confused. He was able to safely secure the area with his vehicle, get her to safety, notify a tow truck, and followed up with her, and she followed back with her to make sure that she got home safely. Just as a member of the community, going above and beyond. It could have been, he could have just rode straight by and carried on with his work, but he cared. And these are the kind of things that we're recognizing from this perspective of customer ambassadors. So I'm going to turn it over to Heidi to give a few examples.
Hi, thank you. So as Sharon said, the water system also has participated. You met some of the gentlemen in a previous meeting where They presented one of our little customers with a hard hat and vest. These are the kinds of people that we are recognizing. We also had a helicopter pilot and a aqueduct employee that was instrumental in finding an elderly hiker. She was lost in the high Sierras alone, and we were asked to help out, and they actually did locate her, and she was able to be escorted safely. The Rangers did say that if we did not assist, it could have gone very badly. So the department is filled with people that go above and beyond every day, and we, the committee, the systems, hope that we're able to continue to recognize them. And so in closing, I want to thank you, Mr. Adams, and the board for your continued support for this very important program. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'd like everybody, as I read your name, to stand up. Thank you. Unique Atkins, Dawn Cameron, Raquel Carrillo, Adam Chan, Arturo Coronel, Ryan Daly, Laura Doyle, Anthony Galindo, Sean Gray, Regina Hainsworth, Raymond Harper, Carolyn Henderson, Elizabeth Enriquez, Jerry Hernandez, Patrick Hilton, Jules Murphy, Lemuel Neal, Tomas Navarez, Michael Riley, Rogelio Sanchez, Evelina Taverdola, Jose Velasquez, Jose Ibarra, and Ivan Zuniga. Thank you, everyone.
Well, that may be the best report we've ever heard. Congratulations and thank you to all of you. We sometimes get bad news. We have our share of criticism. To hear and see firsthand the extraordinary work that so many of you do and that all of you have tangibly done could not be more gratifying. And I know I speak for my colleagues when I say both congratulations and from the bottom of our heart, thank you very much. And you don't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting.
I think they're taking some pictures outside, so thank you all.
Well, that was a very nice report.
All good news, sir.
Okay, well, any commissioners want to follow that act with any commissioner comments? Commissioner Reyes.
All right, so to follow that act, I just want to also state that October is Filipino American History Month, and LA is proud to be home to the largest population of Filipinos outside of the Philippines. Filipino Town, our historic Filipino Town, is the first official geographic designation honoring the contributions of Filipinos in America. And we have to thank Mayor Garcetti for his gender equity policy work and really walking the talk in appointing Filipino American leaders to different positions within the city. And it's so relevant these days because the theme for this month, for the Filipino American History Month, is Pinay Visionaries, celebrating Filipina American women and their contributions to history and to the Filipino American nationwide. So I would like to recognize the 600 Filipino American employees of DWP for their dedication and hard work and their contributions to society in general, and encourage the 606,000 Filipino Americans in the greater LA area, and really Filipino Americans everywhere, to step up and show their leadership in their respective communities. Today, I've asked the leader of our Los Angeles Filipino American City Employees, Joan Tagle, to please stand up and be recognized. And all the other Filipinos, the Pinays who are sitting in the audience, please stand up and be recognized, because representation is very important for the Filipino-American community. Thank you so much. This is an opportunity to reflect upon your significant achievements in our country, as well as highlight your diverse contributions to our national history and culture. So thank you for being here and for highlighting this event for this month of October. Thank you.
That was a pretty good follow-up.
Just quickly, the general manager and chief engineer referenced a number of events last week. I wanted to simply acknowledge the workshop that took place yesterday out at Hyperion, and that I was, fortunate enough to be able to sit through. It is really exciting to watch the actual work associated with miracle making that's literally occurring with in Los Angeles with that project and that partnership between JWP and LA San, and also to acknowledge how much respect and how much in awe I remain of our board president's ability to carry the flag of DWP, which he did ably through his remarks, and also was pleased to be there to support the department, to support Rich, who was equally eloquent, and just wanted to acknowledge that ongoing effort and LADWP's leadership in action.
This is a very good session so far. Okay, ratepayer advocate, you're next with an elevated set of remarks.
I have no comments. Following your lead.
Diplomat. Okay, discussion with neighborhood council representatives on any neighborhood council resolution or community impact statement filed with the city clerk which relate to any agenda item listed or being considered on this agenda for the Water and Power Board.
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed by any neighborhood councils on the items at today's agenda,
Okay, thank you. We have a modest number of items that are potential consent items, items 10 through 13. Do any commissioners wish to remove any of those items from the consent calendar and hear them?
I just have a few clarifying questions on items 10 and 11, please.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve 12 and 13?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? Aye. Those are approved. Okay, we will, well, having already done the management report,
Yes.
we'll move to the approval of the minutes, and then we'll go to items 10 and 11. Is there a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes of September 24th, at which Commissioners Levine, McLean, Hill, Barad, and Reyes were present?
So moved.
Second? Those in favor? Aye. It's approved. Commissioner Reyes, what would you like to know about items 10 and 11?
All right, so let's start with item 10.
Step right up.
Good morning, Thomas Simonovsky.
Lindy Kagami.
So, and this is with regards to the Aon contract, right?
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that, so I'm familiar with the consultant's scope of work, having been in that realm many years ago. But there are two aspects that I would like to see in their scope of work, and I don't know how it will fit, basically because these are important things that we need to think about it like now, moving forward. First is the, I know that beginning in 2022, a 40% excise tax will apply on aggregate health plan costs this is called the Cadillac tax, right? That would require providers to pay a 40% excise tax on our Cadillac plan. So I would like to see if that specific issue is going to be taken up at this particular scope of work, so we start thinking about it leading into 2022 and not be caught by surprise or not be prepared to address that.
Right. So the Cadillac tax has sort of been in the works for several years, and I believe every year now it's sort of been pushed back, so it has not been implemented yet. It could still very well be a question whether it does get implemented. In terms of the scope of work, one of the items in this contract is, strategies for cost containment.
Okay.
And so we definitely can take a look at, those types of measures to see if we can keep our costs down. We also, as part of the contract scope of work, we have, updates on compliance matters, regarding the Affordable Care Act, which the Cadillac tax is related to. So we would be getting notifications, from Aon, giving us strategic advice on what we can do to be in compliance with the tax, and if there's any other measures that we can do to get those costs down.
Okay, so I just want that to be on the radar for
Okay.
this specific contract. And the next, as part of the scope of work again, is, because don't think we have ever done it, is to have Aon conduct a survey to understand the plan sponsor's current thinking and expectations with respect to retiree healthcare strategies. We have 8,000 retirees, I believe, and that will be growing now that baby boomer employees are retiring in droves. So I would like to see the contractor providing or conducting a survey and providing a written report highlighting the findings of retiree healthcare strategies.
Yeah, the existing scope of work would cover that. We have the option of requesting that Aon can do that type of analysis for us and come back to us with some recommendations.
Okay, thank you. Those are my 2 comment suggestions so that it's out there under this contract.
Well noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve item 11?
So move.
Second?
10. 10, I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah. Those in favor?
Aye.
Item 10 is approved, and now we go to 11.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to hear a presentation, or do you just?
No, I just want them to introduce themselves because I only know Michael for now. Go ahead. Introduce
Good morning,
yourselves.
Commissioners. Michael D'Andrea, Director of Human Resources.
Paul Schultz, Director of External Energy Resources.
And Tyrone Jeffrey, Assistant Director of Power Supply Operations.
Great. So as I understand and really delving into this contract, I know, and I just want to make sure that it's on the record that this initiative to transition the APEX staff to civil service DWP employees will not be precedent setting. Because this is kind of unique to me. This is one item that I'm like, oh, okay, they can do that. So I know that there may be other power purchase agreements in the power system, but none are structured like APEX. And I would just like the reassurance that this is not precedent setting in terms of our other power purchase agreements.
Commissioner Reyes, I can certainly address that from the HR Personnel Department aspect, and perhaps Tyrone and Paul could address it from an operational perspective. This is indeed quite unique personnel transaction. We've worked very closely with the Personnel Department on this transition process over almost 2 years now. This was designed and it was implemented specifically by the Personnel Department only for the Apex power plant in Nevada. at the creation of the class specifications list duties that are performed only at Apex, and these new classifications are designed to perform those duties. So that's the class specification perspective. Beyond that, though, the Personnel Department was adamant that when we created these new classifications, they were to be utilized for the transition of existing Apex staff. After which, after a 6-month standard probationary period and a Charter Section 1014 transfer to existing power system classifications, those classes will be abolished. And the Personnel Department insisted upon that. So these new classifications that you're considering here today are for one purpose and one purpose only, Apex.
Are there non-core business or operational job classifications which are existing but not included in these job classifications that we're transitioning into?
Do you mean at Apex?
Yeah, at Apex.
There's a small number of employees at Apex for whom the existing transition process was not able to address. And that's because they perform much more general type duties, clerical, warehouse and tool room, storekeeping, and it was just not possible for us to create classifications that focus specifically on unique work done at Apex. Because remember, that was the justification for the Personnel Department to allow us to create these classifications, that being that they were somewhat unique from what already exists in an existing classification.
So what will happen to those that are not included?
We are working with the Personnel Department to try to explore options. We think we may be able to utilize selective certification for warehouse and tool room worker, storekeeper, and possibly environmental specialist.
Okay.
Because, for example, at Apex, they're in Nevada, of course, and therefore they have different environmental rules than California. With respect to storekeeping, they actually engage in SCAPA procurement procedures, which are different from our own. We believe the Personnel Department may well be open to creating selective certification for those employees. They'd still have to, of course, meet other exam bulletin qualifications. They'd have to pass the test. But selective certification allows us to cert only for people who have those unique requirements. There is a clerical employee for whom we are still searching for an option.
And then since we're inheriting them, those other 22 or 18 out of the 22?
Yes.
Are there significant, just looking at what benefits they were entitled and pension liabilities that DWP will inherit due to the reassignment of these jobs to us?
I don't believe we'll inherit any of those obligations. In October of 2018, we made a trip out to Apex, and we met with all of the employees. Several power system managers, IBEW Local 18 joined us, and we discussed the transition process with all of the employees. They were very happy to hear somebody address this transition process that they had been hearing about for quite some time, and we went over benefits, pay, vacation, everything that would be entitled to them as civil service employees.
So what does that process look like? Is there an offer and then an acceptance that needs to be signed by the employees? How does that go?
Upon your approval, we would submit an examination request to the Personnel Department.
Okay.
And they would create exam bulletins just like any other city civil service classification, and we would engage in a civil service selection process, albeit a relatively unique one, and those employees would then be appointed to civil service lists. We would certify the lists as we normally do. They'll be appointed. They will have the same standard 6-month probationary period that any other civil servant has, after which Personnel Department has already agreed that they'll do a 1014 transfer to the corresponding target power system classifications, and as I said, that'll be it for the Apex classifications. We'll abolish them.
Okay, so and this contract that we have is for how many years?
Do you mean the financing with SCAPA or the actual contract?
The project itself.
Well, I think, may I ask Paul to clarify this project? This isn't a traditional PPA. So, I mean, at the end of the financing, we own this plant. So it's not a PPA where we're leasing the power like a traditional. So Paul, can you?
So we purchased the facility in 2014. We have a 30-year bond, so in 2044, we will take ownership of the facility.
Yeah, I understand that, but Ethos, who's providing the staffing,
Yes.
is that out of business, or is that why we are doing this?
Ethos is a large company.
Yeah.
So when these employees transition, once they become department employees, then that contract with Ethos to provide that ends.
Will end, okay.
Right. So we've extended this contract as we've had these discussions. So we've had a couple different extensions of this existing contract with Ethos, with the understanding that once these employees transition to Water and Power, then the contract with Ethos for the employees then ends.
Okay, so that's clear. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
I move.
Second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Counselor?
Yeah, at this point, we will recess into closed session to deal with the items on agenda item 14, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 5495, 7.1, we will report any final actions taken therein. We are in recess.
Well, when someone writes a